Well, I got over here to the rental farm in Columbia today, and I stepped out of my car and I heard something, and reminded me of a Joel Sal. I was listening to Joel Salatin's You Can Farm, or he's got two of them, the You Can Farm series. I can't remember which one the newer one is, but I was listening to it, and he said the main thing that you can always do is always be looking, thinking, listening, observing. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, and it's so important. And I'm the worst about it because I always feel like, I'm doing a lot of menial tasks, and, just throw in the earbuds, and, at least I could be listening to an audiobook or a podcast and learning something. And a lot of times we just need to take the earbuds out and focus and listen. So I always try to make a point to do that, at least every few minutes, just listen. And just like today, I heard a bull bawling, and it was kind of odd, not real odd. Dad's got a really vocal bull, a couple of paddocks away, but this sounded a little bit more aggressive, a little bit odd. And so I went over here, and I noticed that the gap panel was down. And oftentimes when my cattle that are trained to this Hotwire get out, it's through what I call hard fence. It's through something, like maybe it's some old rusty woven wire, or they pushed, in this case, they just pushed this, it was just held on by a wire. They just pushed it in two. And bulls are very capable of doing that. Want to be careful we don't create a bad habit there. So we went back and we put up a Hotwire. I wish this was on the other side, but for now this will be okay. If he pushes through, he's going to get a shocking experience. But we don't want to train him to be going through fences, whatever we do. So going back to a couple of things I like to try to do when I am managing bulls, especially, larger numbers of bulls. Bulls are a little different than heifers. They're just they got a lot of testosterone going through them. They're more aggressive. They posture, they fight, they push back and forth, they assert dominance. They're practicing. But even these young bulls, even little bulls in the pasture, you'll see them. They're just like little boys. They're posturing, they're training, because when they become, they're training to become a dominant herd sire. And in nature, you want a hard driving, aggressive bull, because they'll go out and they'll breed more cows. They get to pass their genetics on. So we want that. We want to encourage that, as long as we're safe and we keep the bulls contained and we keep them from hurting each other. And so those are the kind of the things that I keep in the back of my mind. And so that being said, I like to have these cattle are Hotwire trained. I like to have a Hotwire running against them. And I probably don't want to leave them in here much longer. So the other thing I want to do is I want to make sure I've got, as many fences in between cattle as possible when you're running bulls like this. So what I've got, and actually worked out well today, but not as well as I'm a little nervous now. So we'll be moving one of these sets will be moving here before too long. But so the bulls are this way, right next to me. And then we've got a pond here. And, you notice things, but it's never a problem until it's a problem, right? So there's a spot over here that's a little low. It's an old rusty woven wire fence. It's probably 60 years old. A lot of them are. There's no Hotwire going around it. I've never had an issue on the 3 years that I've been here, but I also have never ran bulls against it with cows within calling distance. Dad's got a bull over here. He's very vocal. He's a descendant of one of my bulls, I think, and he's a very masculine bull, maybe a little too vocal, because he keeps wanting to call in my big bull. But so you can see there's a hole in the trees here. They're about 300 yards over there, and that should be far enough. But there was a hole in that fence. It was just a little low, and he went ahead and he walked over it pretty much. He probably stepped on it, mashed it down a little bit. He wants to be with the cows, and we want him to be with the cows when it's his time, but we're not quite there yet. We're turning, Duke's going to go out with, I don't know, I've got about 60 breeding age females. Probably have 10 of those will be bred for spring calving. So he 40 to 50 cows. And I don't think he'll have any problem doing that in 60 days. He's a good mature bull. He's just turned, he's 2.5. He'll breed as many cows as he's ever going to do in his life. Got a good set of testicles. He's big enough to do the job, and we're not running him all over the place. These are little paddocks, 3 to 12 acres. So He's in good condition, good grass. He'll be fat if we don't work him hard. And that's what we're trying to produce. But he's an aggressive bull, and he's been talking back and forth with my dad's bull over there, I guess. And when I got here, I heard him. And so this is what what we're gonna do to manage that. I've got a paddock here I was planning on moving those cows into, but we're gonna move these bulls out first just to prevent any issues. I put up a wire here. I don't have enough time to get them moved today, and I want to set up a couple more wires just to keep them from just make sure they're behaving themselves. But even when he jumped this, even when he pushed out this wire, walked over this fence here, he still had a white tape there that was reading 6,000 volts. He didn't mess with, and there's another wire over there splitting that pasture. It was reading 6,000 volts, and neither of the bulls had any interest in touching that. So he was just over there bawling and bawling his head off. So I was able to hear that. Fortunately, came over. He's a big bull. His testosterone's turned on. He's wanting to fight. He's wanting to go breed cows. He's in good condition. The grass is good. It's just, I always said if I could pick one month to breed cows, it'd be October. Second best would be right now in November. It's November 1st. And everything is, the deer are rutting, the cows are cycling, everything is just going hard. And these bulls are ready to go. But if we turn them out now, we're going to be having early August calves. And it's, in my experience, I'd rather have them in the heat than the cold. But I'd sure prefer to have them back in September, October. If I had to pick 2 months to calve in, September, October would be it. We just don't fight the maggots as bad. We don't fight the heat stress on the cows. These black cows calving in August is, it's not ideal. And we're fighting infected fescue right then and a few other things. So I just prefer not to have those early August calves. I like to see calves coming when that endophyte's coming down a little bit. Best I can figure, September is the best time for me to be having calves and maintain my calf health. From a nutrient cycle, natural system, maybe spring calves would be better. But on the Kentucky 31, I struggle with health problems. Especially eyes, quite a bit more. So this is what's working for me. But we got Dane here, Duke's in the background. We got them back to where they're at. These bulls, they push on each other. They run around the pasture. They like to have some room to spread out. They need to have room to be able to get away from each other. My dad used to manage a lot of bulls. We used to have a customer buyback program before trichomoniasis really came around. And what we did there is we'd sell you a yearling bull or young bull, and then you could bring him back and trade him out for a fresh bull up to his 4th birthday. As long as he was in good condition, you did a good job taking care of him. And that would give our customers new genetics. They didn't have to worry about selling their bull at the sale barn. We back up our bulls. We try to do a good job by our customers and make sure that everything's good, get a breeding soundness exam and all those things. And you just don't have to worry about it. And then Dad would, he would go ahead, and we have a lot of customers that, especially on bigger, larger herds, they want a 4-year-old bull. That's kind of when the depreciation hits after 5. The price of those bulls start dropping. So we could, turn around, sell those bulls, make a little bit of money, keep our customer from having to deal with so much hassle. We picked up, dropped off a lot of bulls, did a lot of those kinds of things, and really helped our customer out there, and, helped us out a little bit too. And, a lot of those guys, once they buy a 4-year-old bull from you, they'll come back and buy another little one to go along with them and get back in the program. So, good for advertising and those kinds of things. But unfortunately, with trichomoniasis, I think I'm saying that right, with trick, in the country, we've closed down our herd. It's just something we don't want to risk with, with our cattle or customers' cattle. Any bull that's over 18 months, I think, is the law in Missouri, or that's, been exposed to cows has to be trick tested before you can sell them. And I think that's just good business, just to keep it out of the area, out of the state. It doesn't look like it right now. He's just out here chewing his cud. We got they're just all hanging out right now. But he was bellering and carrying on earlier when he thought he might find a cow or two. So this is how I prefer them to be. I guess we could talk about posturing too. When I went to get this bull, he was off by himself, and he was kind of secluded. He did bull up at me a little bit, he was, like I said, his testosterone was going. He was wanting to fight. And, so I didn't want to take any chances with him. I'm not saying that that was an out of line attitude. I think I can walk into this pen right now, you know, and walk him all around here without any issues. But when you get a bull off by themselves, it's another reason not to leave them alone. They get scared, and you know, I've really learned that a cow's natural attitude towards a threat is to put their head at it. And so, like, even running cattle through a chute I was helping my uncle work his cattle a couple weeks ago, and you know, you get them up to the corner. If we don't have anything fancy in our facilities, but every once in a while you get the last cow in the little pen there, and she'd be looking at you while you were trying to shut the gate on her, and there wasn't enough room for her to spin while you shut the gate on her, and she just, you know, she was looking at you and not wanting to turn. If you work cattle, you probably know what I'm talking about. And all I had to do was go up there and, you know, slap her on the butt or twist her tail a little bit, and then she saw the threat switched from the front to the back because I was putting pressure on her, and then she turned around. He was able to shut the gate, she'd walk on in. So a little bit of cow psychology goes into this. When you walk up to a bull, first thing, I was on foot because he was over in this pond lot, and I didn't have a real good gate to take my four-wheeler in. I didn't want to get stuck or flip it over or anything, so I was on foot. That was a little different. Of course, you know, with these guys, I'm here a lot on foot. Not too big of a deal, but he wasn't used to it, you know. It was a little different. He usually sees me come up on the four-wheeler, and he's not by himself. I think that was a big thing. And so he bawed at me, and he pawed a little bit, just kind of strutting, you know, like I was another bull. And so, you know, I do carry, I don't know, I look for something big and heavy just to protect myself if I needed to, you know, whack him on the nose if he was really going to threaten me or something like that, which he didn't. You know, I yelled at him and kind of waved my arm, and he backed down. But, you know, I'm not saying that wouldn't be a threatening situation if you don't know how to handle it. And I mean, it is dangerous, but working with livestock can be dangerous. I do not like to see that, but again, if he wasn't by himself, he wouldn't be like that. Like I said, I can walk into this pen of bulls. He's over here chewing his cud. No issues temperamentally. But just in that certain situation, a bull sometimes will show a different attitude. You know, he was wanting to go breed cows, and I was in his way. And so he was just letting me know he was a bull. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's a mean bull, but it would have been better if I'd have had other cattle there. I introduced this Hotwire here pretty quick to get him, you know, thinking about something else instead of thinking about chasing cows. He was thinking about, oh, I'm going to get shocked. And I didn't have to, you know, use any kind of physical force or anything like that. Your voice is a big tool. A lot of people, you know, it's a powerful thing. I remember learning as a little kid, my dad was talking about one time, he said, you know, your voice is a tool, and I need to teach my son this because he just loves to yell and throw his arms around, and he just loves being around cows, and anything that I say or do, he wants to mimic. And so he gets, you know, he 10X's that. If I say, hey, he goes, hey, you know, he'll do jumping up and down on the four-wheeler. And so I got to be careful with that. He keeps me honest. But, you know, cattle really understand the tone of your voice, especially, you know, if you're out here talking to them. You know, they get to see your normal mannerisms. They get to see how fast you move, how you walk. A lot of people, you know, want to train their cattle to whistle if they're not going to be able to move them every day. You got other people doing it because they get used to your voice. You know, my wife could walk out here and call these cattle all day long, but until she walked away and left that gate open, they wouldn't go through it. You know, they're not trained to her. It wouldn't take her long, 2 or 3 days, and they'd get there, but they get used to certain things. You know, she's shorter than me. My kids are way smaller than me. Everything's different. And so cattle pick up on all those things. They're real observant. And so when you change that tone of your voice and get more aggressive, just like they do, they understand that. And so you can do a lot by the tone of your voice. You don't have to run and shout and jump up and down to make a cow move most of the time. You know, just especially if you're one man, you're working them easy and they're used to you. You just pick up the pace a little. And they know that's not normal, and so they pick up the pace a little. And it's amazing what you can do when you can learn these kinds of stockmanship and kind of study your cattle and get these experiences, just like turning that cow in the chute. But you want to learn how to handle them. And you want to be safe while you're doing it. You know, if you're going to go out there and you're going to handle a mature bull by yourself and they're acting a little cantankerous, stay on your machine. You know, make sure you know where you can get out of the way if you need to, jump a fence or go up a tree. even gentle cattle, you know, they can have a bad day. Cows aren't generally as bad, but if they have a calf on them and you expect to be able to go out there and pet your little puppy dog cow, sometimes they just have a switch and they just turn on full kill. And, you know, it doesn't happen very often, and you normally know after the first one or two, but, you know, be aware of these things. This bull was wanting to go breed cows, and he didn't take me, and I don't think he would have taken me, but he sure put on a pretty good show. And, you know, I said, okay, and I walked back and I got my stick and I put on a pretty good show for him. I got loud, I got big. You know, I came at him, I didn't back down. Sometimes, you know, a cow will come at you a little bit, and a bull will do the same thing a little bit, but normally if they're running, you should probably be moving in a different direction. Out of the way, under the truck, on the truck. Again, this is just general things. I don't expect any issues here. But, you know, big animals, they can hurt you, and they can move faster than you can think. I remember with Elston, the most gentle bull, one of the most gentle, naturally gentle bulls I've ever been around. You can walk up and scratch that bull 364 days out of the year. One day I got home and I heard a noise kind of like this. The bull, I'd separated the bull from the cows that morning, and that bull went over 4 fences. You know, little bitty bull. I remember Faroe saying, you know, the advantage of a shorter bull, they can't jump higher fences. No, but they can push through them if they want to. Fence is just a bluff to a 1,600 to 2,000 pound bull. That's why I put in these hot wires, because they're a bluff that bites and that hurts. But anyway, I'd never seen that bull run before. I'd had him for three or 4 years. I'd never seen him run. I'd never seen him move fast. And he jumped, I guess he jumped the fence, and I just caught him just the right time, and he was kind of moseying on back over towards the cows. So I jumped on my old white four-wheeler here, and I kind of ran him down. It was just after dark, and I pushed him all the way back up to the sort gate at the barn where I was going to close it behind him, and he turned around and kind of gave me one of those "you should move" looks, and he never given it to me since. I had him for 6 to 8 years there, and just never had an issue with him since then. But he just took off back to those cows, and I think that bull's moving 15, 20 mile an hour. I've never seen anything like it. He just went straight back to the cows, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sort you again tomorrow. You're easy to handle. I'm being stupid. It's 9 o'clock at night. I shouldn't be out here chasing cattle. And so I just opened the gate, let him in so he didn't tear anything else up. And the next day I went in and sorted him off, put up a hot wire so he quit jumping, and made sure he had his buddies with him, and never had another issue with that bull. But sometimes you just have a bad day. Anyway, I want to share what was going on today. I think it's useful sometimes to listen and talk through some people's experiences. Helps you understand some of the things you could get into. Buying gentle cattle sure helps, but again, you know, a bull's a bull, and you got to respect that. Most of the time they're going to respect you, but they could have a day where they just take off 15 mile an hour, and you should just step back for a minute and say, you know what, we're going to deal with that in the daylight. You know, maybe have a buddy with me. But anyway, hope this helps. If you guys like this kind of content or have any questions, comments, want to share some of your grizzly bear cow stories, whatever, leave a comment down below. We sure appreciate you.